What happens now?
They arrive.
Arrival is a science fiction drama film directed by Denis Villeneuve. In this video, we want to talk about the hidden concepts of Arrival movie. What you will see in this video is 1. Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, which is about the relationship between language and thinking, and discusses about linguistic relativity. Number 2, circular time versus linear time, and the logic that can come from it. And third, Amor Fati, or love of one's fate. At first glance, Arrival is an amazing story about the relationship between aliens and humans. But this is only one of its subplots, and more important issues are raised within the story. The story is narrated by the voice of Dr. Louis Banks, making it clear that we are dealing with a human story rather than a film about extraterrestrials. If you haven't seen this movie yet, please stop right here. Watch the movie and then come back. Although the story of the movie is so beautiful that despite knowing it, you will still discover other hidden details while watching it. Part of the ambiguity of the movie may come from the fact that what we see through Louis's memories are not flashbacks, but flash forwards. She sees moments of the future without realizing it. In the Arrival, 3 important points are raised. First is the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, which raised in this story and is an important and old topic about the relationship between language and the way of thinking. The second theme is circular time versus linear time. And the third one is the concept of loving one's fate, which is called Amor Fati. We can also find the same concept in Nietzsche's philosophy. Director Denis Villeneuve interweaves all these themes into a fascinating tale of aliens. First part, Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, the relationship between language and the way of thinking. As mentioned, this hypothesis is about the relationship between language and thinking. Language affects how we perceive things. For example, an American person's understanding and imagination of a word and what it means may completely be different from a German person. As you see in first few scenes, Louise wants the colonel to ask the other linguist what the Sanskrit word for war and its translation.
Ask him the Sanskrit word for war and its translation.
In the next scene, the colonel says Gavesti. Louis clarifies that the exact meaning of this word is the desire to have more cows.
Gaveston. He says it means an argument. What do you say it means?
The desire for more cows.
This is an important point in this film because at the end of the film, it is clear that the aliens mean a weapon as a tool, not as a real weapon of war. In his masterpiece, The Little Prince, Antoine Saint-Exupéry mentions something about the language. Language is the source of misunderstandings, which emphasizes the importance of human communication instead of verbal communication. Gathering a linguist and a scientist together to know the intentions of the aliens and the conversation that takes place between them at the very beginning is also an emphasis on this point. Louis believes that language is the foundation of civilization, but Jan says that science is the foundation of civilization. Jan says we have questions from the aliens about their science. Louis says, how about we just talk to them before we start all this? At the end of the film, by learning the language and logic of the aliens, Louis also acquires their weapon, which is the ability to see the future. Language is not only a means of expressing ideas, but also a shaper of ideas. And thus, we understand the world as the language depicts it for us. Part 2. Circular time or non-linear time versus linear time. Our belief about time is always like that events begin at point A and end at point B. What if the logic of events is circular? It is said that the circle is the most stable form in nature. With the circular theory of time, the beginning becomes the end and vice versa. Time never ends, and it's never been started. Circular time is repetitive, familiar, and continuous. Similarly, the months, days, and seconds are continuous. This proposition is an answer to some presuppositions of the film, how to see the future, and how Louise talks to the Chinese commander, and knowing the sentence she will hear from him in the future, she tells it to him in the present tense. Emphasis on the writing style of the aliens, which is circular, is a reference to their circular time and the logic of their worldview. Albert Einstein once said, "The distinction between the past, present, and future is only a stubbornly persistent illusion." And somewhere in the movie, Louis says, "We are so bounded by time, by its order. But now I'm not so sure I believe in beginnings." Louise's daughter's name is Hannah. The name Hannah is a palindrome and is spelled the same backwards as it is forward. This reflects the theme of the film in which the story starts and it finishes, due to the story's events existing in a non-linear timeline. Some of the opening scenes are simultaneously the beginning and the end, as the orders of the letters that make up the name Hannah. This logic also reveals the worldview of aliens to us. The heptapods view time as a whole and are unable to grasp the concepts of cause or purpose. In the film, they view time spherically, having a clear cause, which is they will need help in the future, and a purpose, which is they want to give humans their language, time perception, and ultimately bootstrap our technological level so we can help them in the future, and completion of the circle. The third part, Amor Fati, or love of one's fate. What Nietzsche means by this concept is the ability of humans to cope with and even be happy with knowing the details of their future lives. It means that people can still enjoy life knowing what in the future is waiting for them and what troubles will happen to them, and accept it as it is and not try to change it. If you are aware of all the details of your life and know that you have no ability to change any part of it, would you still be willing to endure it for a second time? He answers himself. My formula for greatness in human beings is Amor Fati, that when a person is faced with a situation, does not change any part of it, neither in the future nor in the past, and accept life for the second time as it is, and fall in love with this life again and even several times. This is the sentence that Louis says in the final scene of the film.
Despite knowing the journey and where it leads, I embrace it. And I welcome every moment of it. If you could see your whole life from start to finish, would you change things?
3 interesting trivia. What does Louis say to the Chinese commander? Louis, on a private phone number of Chinese commander, telling him his wife's dying words in Mandarin. In war, there are no winners. only widows. The spaceship with the oval shape would bring a perfect sense of menace and mystery. The reason that the aliens' spaceship never landed on Earth is that aliens wanted humans to undertake their contribution to communicate. In conclusion, our language provides a frame through which we see the world and constructs the world we live in. We speak the same language, we see through different tongues. Language shapes the way we think and determines what we can think about. So it is possible that learning a new language will improve our attitude towards the world. The movie Arrival is not just a masterpiece, it is more an achievement.